Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go with this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in the bio section of social media. I was looking at the economic calendar. I don't see really too much happening this week as of yet, but things could change throughout the week, and obviously news and events could change too. So don't have much on the bearish side. I have some things to watch on the bullish side. It's hard to tell what SPY is going to do. I mean, SPY could just, it made all-time high on Friday again, so they could push it to 425, even 430. So who knows what's going to happen? Just have to play it day by day and see if anything happens that changes the way things look, or moves, I should say. So with that said, I'll start with the bearish side, which I only have a couple, and one of them is Netflix. And I know Netflix has been sitting in this range of 480 to 550. And I really thought last week it was going to make a move to the 500 area and the 550 area, but it didn't. It's still, under 500, and it's kind of like huddling this little 480 line. So if that manages to break, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, if it can't break out over 500, over this area right here, 505, and it comes back to 480, it could break down. And if it does, you get this right here. Well, I should I'll go by the weekly. You get the wicks bottoms right here at like the 465 area. Then you have the 455 right here, which is going to be a pretty big area. It could probably pretty much bounce from there. If not, I mean, you get right here on the weekly 440 and 435, but we'll have to see what Netflix does. I really thought we were going to have a strong move last week, but it just was not a very eventful week. It was very choppy last week too, so probably because of the short week, a lot of people are still away on vacation. But I'll be watching Netflix below the 486 area for push to 480, then to obviously 465, 460, 455, so stuff like that. So next one is NVIDIA. I can't seem to talk straight today. And I know NVIDIA has been strong, and it just continues to go on the shortage of chips. So it did break out of this little trend line right here, going up, as you can see right there. But every time it gets out of this Keltner channel, it just likes to come back. It got peaked out a little bit on the weekly, and it came back down, and right here and right here. So, and it's diverging, as you can see, since August 17th. It's been diverging for several months. So have to see if it does actually pay off or not. But anytime that you see it outside the Keltner channel, and we can even look at it on the daily, you get full body candles out of the Keltner channel on the daily. So I did it here and here, and then I did pull back. But we'll have to see if it actually does that. So NVIDIA, I'd be watching. I mean, the RSI on the hourly, the dailies, it looks like it's right around 78. And the weekly, I mean, isn't too extreme, but it's diverging. So have to watch that underneath. I would probably like to see it underneath like 678. It's pretty far away. Underneath 697, then push to 680, 675. Then you get this area right here at 668. 652. Just looking at the this breakout area right here is let's say 650. 651 is the high of this candle. So around 650 was a breakout candle. So it could come back down to 650 and test this area where it broke out right here. So definitely be watching that. Then you have UPS, which is starting to come down or chop. Now it did come down a little bit on the daily, came down and tested gap support, which at 208. Now if it does manage to break below this area of 207, we'll say 208. If it breaks down below 208, probably going to fill the gap and go down to 204. Then the big round number of 200, 198, 194, 195, you can say. Then you get this other area, the real big gap support, which is where it gapped up from earnings at 190. So if it does manage to drop, it will more than likely bounce at 190. So that's pretty much on the bearish. I mean, it's all going to depend on the market, what the market's going to do and the gap ups. What's been really rough last week is you've had the gap ups and the gap down so big that it kind of changes the whole dynamic of the play, and that's why you need to be in the room to find out what changes I'm going to make and which direction I'm going to end up taking. So I hate when stocks gap up a lot and they break over the levels, and they just changes the dynamic of the play. So Roku, I look at this and I look, okay, it's probably going to drop more because you get a head and shoulders, you get the left head and the right shoulder. But on Friday there was a huge call option buy, so leaves me a little more optimistic that maybe this inside day on Friday will get up over let's see, 333 for a push to 340. Then you get the 345 area, 350. Now if I manage to get over 350, it's probably going to push to this high right here, 356 to 360. So we'll have to see if those options that came in will actually change the Roku and end up actually taking off. But I still think, the head and shoulders right here, I'll end up playing it both sides, up or down. But I'm just curious about the big options that came through on Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like 360 calls or 375. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but yeah, that did catch my attention. I was like, oh, okay, maybe someone's expecting this thing to break out. Somebody knows something maybe. So next one is Microsoft. Now, Microsoft, I keep looking at it. It's hovering in this 250, 245, 250 area. And I think that if it can actually get over this 252 area, it has a chance to push to 255. Fill the gap at 260, even make new all-time highs, and that will probably be very dependent on what SPY does. And the thing I keep looking at on Microsoft is every time it gets in this little choppy zone right here, it has this massive push. So maybe we have this massive push right here and a push to 270 or something on Microsoft. So definitely Microsoft taking off is something I'd be watching. Facebook right near all-time high. The market's strong, and it could end up taking off. Now I saw that the G7 summit was talking about taxing like Facebook and Amazon, so that could have an impact on them. We'll have to see if it does. It just seems like any time that something happens to Facebook, it's either ignored completely or it just has minimal impact where it just dips a little bit, then it ends up raging again. So we'll have to see what that does to Facebook. So Facebook's all-time high is 330, 378, so I'd watch it over at 332. If it does manage to get to all-time high, probably will end up breaking out, going to 345, 335, 340, 345, even 350 maybe. So definitely have to watch that. Now Tesla burned me all week last week. So now Tesla had a nice green day, but it was an inside candle. We'll have to see if they can get over 600 and stay over 600. Tesla just can't get out of its own way. I mean, it's still above the RCT trend line on the weekly. So I would watch it over, say, go over Friday's highs, Thursday's highs. What day is that? Thursday high of 605 for push to 620. and then a push to 630, 630, 635, and you get 640. Then after you get to 640 area, you get let's see, 670. Then you get 700. Who knows? Maybe Tesla can actually get some momentum, get back to 700 again, or even 750. But we'll have to see. I mean, Tesla just can't seem to get out of its own way this past week, so we'll have to see if it actually does anything this week or not. Dollar Tree, DLTR, bounced right off this 97 level. It's starting to look pretty good now. It is starting to show a little bit of weakness, but these retail stocks just completely ignore SPY. So SPY could go down, and these retail stocks could just keep going regardless of what SPY is doing. So I'd watch it over 102 for a push to 105. Then they fill the gap at 107. Then you get 110. And you get this 114 area. So, I mean, as a long-term play, I think that Dollar Tree will end up going back up to $1.20 in the next few months. So that could end up being a good long-term play. Baidu is another one. Now, Baidu is one that I mentioned last week that I think is due for a very, very strong move, but didn't get it this past week. So maybe we'll get it this week. So I'd watch it over... I could go over here. Watch it over 195 for a push to 200. If it gets over 200, then you get a look at 202.50, 203. Then you get 205. Now, if you get over this 205 area, you get 220. Would probably be the next big area. Well, you got 218, 213. Then you get 220. This ICT trend line ends up being a support and resistance, as you can see right here, support, then it turned into resistance. So more than likely a push to 220 will probably end up getting rejected. So definitely be watching that. Cat is the next one. Cat, I hate playing Cat sometimes because that's like my Achilles heel. With this infrastructure bill that's going on, I'm sure Cat will benefit from it. So I would watch it over 240, we'll say 247. Which is, well, you could even say all-time high of 246.69. If it makes a new all-time high, it's probably going to push to 250, 260. So I would definitely watch Cat for a strong move this week. Costco is another retail stock that's just, regardless of what SPY is going to do, it's going to keep doing what it's going to do. And right now, it's starting to hit all-time high for the fourth time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So... actually 5 right there if you want to count that one. I'm talking 4 times in the last month. So I would say that the more times it touches, the higher probability it is going to break out. So I would definitely keep an eye on Costco over I closed at Friday's high, so I'd watch it over 388 for push to 390, and if it gets to 390, it's probably going to get a strong move to 400. So yeah, definitely going to be probably an interesting week. Hopefully it will be volatile and won't be choppy. Last week just was so choppy. I just don't want this week to be choppy too, but it's a full week. So we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully we'll get some kind of catalyst, something that will get the market moving. Regardless if it's up or down, I can play it either way. But I just don't know. We just have to see what the market's going to do. It's right up there at all-time high, and a lot of the stocks are not near all-time high, just a handful. So there's quite a bit of disconnection between the stocks and SPY, and VIX is getting pretty low. It's getting down to, it was below 15 right here, right? What was the low on that one? That was 15.38. No, it wasn't quite below 15, but when it gets below 16 is when you start seeing moves. Now you also see the support down here on VIX at 12. I mean, can VIX hit 12? I mean, sure, it can, but if VIX hits 12, yeah, I'm going to load up big time, because it does not stay at 12. I mean, it stays there for maybe a week, then it pops. So definitely be watching VIX, especially if it gets below 15 and closer to 12. I'd be very interested in that, because something it's gonna have to happen here pretty soon. So I know I'm just rambling, but there's quite a bit of an divergence going on right here on the RSI and histogram. So hopefully something will happen this week. So that's gonna do it for the watch list. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and hope to see you in the room. Thanks.